Hey everybody, Rob with WePayOffDebt.ca. A little sick right now, but coming at you from my basement with another quick idea here for you. And this one was inspired by a true story. But let me start off with a story to get the situation here. So imagine this: you have a minivan for you and your family, and you take it into the shop, get it looked at, checked over, and while it's there, they notice, hey, your tires completely bald. Yeah, you need new tires. And you say, oh crap, I did not plan for that. I did not expect that. Well, winter's coming, and so what they recommend you do is while they're doing the other work, jump on their website, take a look at what they have available, and if you have any they like, you can buy them and install them that day. And you leave the shop. Question is, what would you do? Okay, now I can tell you what I would have done a couple years ago. The old Rob. What I would have done was I would have gone to work, jumped on the website, and checked what do they have available. As I look, I would have watched for the prices, checked the brands a little bit here and there, and then I'd probably check one more store, right? Maybe I jump on and check Costco or something like this. In the end, if the price of the cheapest one on the website of the place where the car was at right then was a reasonable price, maybe I call the wife to make sure, but I probably would have bought it. I probably just would have said, yeah, you know what? I know we need it going into winter, want to be safe, for sure. Go for it. Well, let me tell you, that's what the old Rob would do. The new Rob, very, very different. So let me share a little bit about that. And all this comes from the fact that we did actually need new tires. So just where we were at, our minivan needed 4 new all-season tires, and our my wife's car, our Camry, she wanted some winter tires, and preferably with rims, right? So we don't have to keep switching them on and off the rims. So what I want to do today is I want to give you a few of the tips that we went through and the incredible story that happened with these things in the end, the ended up deal that we ended up getting. So here we go. First tip for saving up for something big is save in cash. And this is the thing. If you don't use cash, if you're willing to use credit on something like this, what happens is it's all so easy to be at that point where you're frustrated with the car needing repairs and you've got no money and you're stressed and blah, 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 blah. You say, fine, I'll throw it on the credit card, put it on the line of credit, whatever it is, we'll deal with it. We'll take care of it. And you say stuff like, well, we need it. It's a need. It's the safety of my family. What can I do? And you're a victim. You're taking this victim mentality that there's nothing you could do. It's just the world acting against you. And of course, that's a totally disempowering place to be, right? If you don't feel like you have power, if you don't feel like you can do anything, that's called hopelessness. And that infects your soul. It really does. So step number 1 is save in cash and don't be willing to use debt to buy this thing, whatever this big thing is. I'm using tires as the option, as the example. Step number 2 is gather information. There's an old saying that he with the most knowledge or he with the most information wins. And that's really what it comes down to. So for instance, if I'm now saving up for new tires, the first place I should start is jump on a couple websites and just jot down, okay, if I walked in today off the street and bought some tires, what would they cost? That would be a good thing to know, right? What kind of deal could I get? What kind of deal can I usually get? And you can ask around some people. You can look around, and if you're looking for a long period of time, 2-3 weeks, you can start watching the prices as things happen. So with tires, for instance, you start to notice that very, very commonly they go on sale, buy 3, get 1 free, right? That's a very, very common, normal sale, right? Another thing you'll notice is that Costco Costco, they don't always do the buy three get one sale. They'll often do a Costco cash card with different tires that they're pushing at that particular time. So the point is, you want to gather information because you want to know what's the worst case scenario. If I need to buy these things, I needed to buy them today. How much would it cost, right? And with tires, what you start finding out is it seemed like, as I was doing my research, about $800 looked like, in Winnipeg anyway, looked like a reasonable, good deal for a set of 4 all seasons, or for a set of winter, but winter is usually a bit cheaper. So let's say $700, but around the same thing. Now rims, you start looking, you say, okay, around 70, 80, 90 is looking like the minimum for a brand new rim, per rim, right? 70, 80, 90. So let's say 80 times 4, $320 for rims. Not great, but that's what I know is my worst case scenario. So if I'm looking for winter tires with rims, if I'm going to say $800 for the tires, and I'm going to say another $300 for the thing, okay, I'm looking at $1,100. You see how I'm doing this here? Just quick and dirty math. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm not worried about it being exact. But what I want is I want that round number in my head so that when I see a tire deal on and I see one for $1,000 with rims, I can look at that and say, oh, that's a lot of money. Or I can look at that and say, no, I actually know that's a really good deal because of the rims. Anyway, so we keep going. The more information you have, the better. The next question is about used ones. And so whatever this thing is you're buying, you start asking the question, what does buying used look like? And you don't have to buy used, but you should ask this question. What does buying used look like? And then the question becomes even further to that, because the easy thing, the natural thing to do in this case is to start saying things like, well, I don't want to inherit somebody else's problems, or I don't want to keep repairing that thing, or whatever, right? That's the natural thing to say when you consider buying used. Instead, I want you to do some research, and I want you to actually say, okay, what does a good one of these look like used? Because if they were only a week old versus 10 years old, that's a massive difference. And start asking questions, is there a way for me to be able to tell such things? How good of a used thing this is without becoming an expert, obviously. So if I'm buying a used car, I can't do a lot, but I could take it to a dealership, not a dealership, a mechanic that's willing to look at it for me. So maybe I just call up and say, hey, my automotive guy, would you be willing to look at a used car if I brought one in before I bought it? Like, give it the once over, and how much would that cost? That's the phone call I'm talking about here. Doing the research, what would it take to actually buy a used one and have a really good idea where it's at? With the tires, what I discovered, of course, is it really comes down to the tread depth. How good quality are the treads still? And it turns out, after doing a little bit of research, watching a couple YouTube videos, found a tool you can buy for $7 on Amazon. It's about yay big. You get, I got it shipped to me because I have an Amazon Prime membership. It gets shipped to me, and now I've got a tool for measuring tire depth. And in 5 minutes of looking, I can get an idea what is a good tire depth. Of course, the tool even tells you, so you don't even need much. Point is, in a couple minutes of researching, I was able to get way more information than I had before. I can now look at a set of used tires, even ones I find in a back lane somewhere, and ask the question, are these any good? Right? Of course, the ones in a back lane I wouldn't recommend you use, but you see the point, right? More information. Knowledge is power. That's the bottom line. After you have a little bit of knowledge, okay, now let's start looking for used ones. Let's start jumping on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace or wherever, right? Another place to look at the same time is looking at online sites that completely ship in. So they don't have not a click and mortar, right? Like a Costco, but a completely digital online business. With tires, that's like Tire Rack, TireRack.com. And you can go there and take a look and see what they have. And again, get a price in your mind. What would it cost to get those here? And is that better or worse than in person? And again, just to have that number in your brain, super important. So now when you're looking at used ones online, you're always comparing to that number. And so if you see a set that's now 1 year old, they advertise it saying 1 year old, and where you knew the price was going to be $1,100 for those winter tires with rims, this one's $600. You can say, oh, that's amazing, right? And that's exactly what you do. So now you have this information. You are way more qualified to actually make a decision when one comes up. The other thing to do at this point, start asking around your friends. Where are the places to buy stuff like this used? Are there any special places to buy stuff like these used? Places that specialize in selling these things used. So a friend of mine actually recommended a place here in Winnipeg. It's just a particular auto wrecker, and what they do is they get written off vehicles, and they bring them in. And you can imagine if a vehicle got a head-on collision, completely rode off the engine, the tires might be totally fine, and it might have been a brand new car, so the tires could be brand new, right? So there's things that are worth checking into there. And he gave me the name, and I looked up the number. I called them, and again, the more information, the better. So I told him, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some all-season tires. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some winter tires with rims. What's your cost? They didn't have the all-seasons. Great. They had the winter tires used for $300 for a set, and he gave me the tread depth, and I was able to say, okay, I know something about that now. I understand a little bit about how good these things are, how long they're going to last, because of the little bit of research I did. And it was $300 for a set of used winter tires, and they were such that they would last 2-3 years without any issue. So, okay, now I know $300. Now there's no rims with that, right? So I asked him about rims, and I think he was saying $70 for a steel rim, for a basic rim for a winter tire. I'm like, okay, not amazing. So we keep looking. Well, in the end, what ended up happening? So because now I've got all this information in my head, because I've got this knowledge, and because I've been doing this on my computer, places like Google start to actually track you and start to actually let you know of interesting things. So you now start seeing ads for these kind of things, which is interesting. And because of your knowledge now, you actually start to know what's a good ad, what's a bad ad, what's a good deal, what's a bad deal. And what happened was a deal came up, buying tires in Winnipeg, and when I looked at it, it was not buy 3 get 1 free, as is the usual case of what I expect to see. What it was is buy 2 get 2 free. And I said, whoa, wait, what? Because I have the knowledge of what these sales are usually like, I was able to say, okay, that's something I got to take note of, pay attention to. So buy 2 get 2 free, half off, in other words. And I looked closer at the ad. It was a 1-day sale in Winnipeg at a place downtown. And I'm like, okay, a brand I'd never heard of. Fine, let's go look up the brand a little bit. Found some reviews. Okay, again, building information here. The reviews look reasonable. It's not performance amazing tire, but it's definitely going to do the job well. It's definitely going to last a good number of years. And then I look at my schedule. Okay, it's a 1-day only. Can I get down there? Look in the schedule, look to see if there's a way to do it. And yeah, we made it work. So that day I'm down there with my son, because we had done something together in the morning, but with my son, we go there and we stand in line, because it's a massive lineup for this. Stand in line, get to the line, and I have I have very little intention of buying it at this point. I'm really gathering information. This is just such a good deal, potentially, that I'm willing to go there and gather this information and maybe buy them. So the way it worked, they had one lineup to actually get the prices, and then if you wanted to buy, a second lineup to go buy them. And so I got in line, waited in line, got to the front, casual, relaxed, right? And I actually feel confident, because even though I'm not a car guy at all, I know enough to know what I'm looking for. And so he talks to me. Oh, and by the way, while I was in line, I heard some other people talking about all seasons versus all weathers. And in all my research, I hadn't come across all weather tires. And so I jumped online while I'm sitting in line, rather than just browsing Facebook, right? jump on my phone and I'm looking up what's the difference between all season and all weather tires. And I was able to, again, more information to walk up front and feel confident with. So I walk up front, I give them the numbers I'm interested in. I write down all the information on a piece of paper, and they thank you very much, great, and I'm going to call the wife and consider it. And that's my last point for you today, is get input. So now that you've got a lot of information, when you see what's going on, okay, now's the time to ask for input. You know, it's funny, in the book of Proverbs, in the Bible, Proverbs 31, verse 10 to 11, it says, an excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband, listen to this here, the heart of her husband trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain. This is a biblical promise. Now, it's a proverb. Proverbs are generally true, not always specifically rule true, but what this is saying is that when you have an amazing wife, when you trust her, you will have no lack of gain. And I'm sure, and I know this works for spouses on the other side as well, that when you have an amazing husband and you ask him for input, and if you respect him and you trust him, you will have no lack of gain. It will actually affect you. So what it came down to is I got on the phone with her and I gave her the details. I gave her where things were at. And of course, we had conversations about this here and there. I'm the nerd, so I knew way more than she did. It's my job to communicate to her. It's my job to share the information with her, and it's my job to get her to buy in if I want to buy them. Okay? So, what ended up happening? At the same time we're having this discussion, I jumped onto Facebook Marketplace and just looked again what kind of used tires are out there right now. Came across a set that was a little bit out of town, a set of 4 winter tires for my wife's car with rims, and they were asking $200. And I said, what? We had seen them before for $300, and we had contacted the guy, and we were thinking about going to see them and things like this. But this person was offering $200 for a set of 4 winter tires with rims. And again, more information says I got to pay attention to that. So we're in this conversation with my wife, and we're talking this over, and we're saying, well, I could buy both right now and be done with it, and I still have to find some rims because these are just tires. The rims here were $90 a piece. That's probably not what I want to buy. I probably want to get rims used somehow. Okay, how are we going to do that? And then when we saw these winter tires on Facebook, I said, well, wait a minute. If it's $200 for 4 winter tires with rims, that's like, if we threw out the tires and we just bought the rims, that's a reasonable deal. It's not an amazing deal, but it's a reasonable deal on the rims. $50 a rim, no tax. And so we said, okay, so what if we did that and we bought the new winter tires? And we started talking about that. We're like, well, how good are the ones going to be out there? Because if they're almost brand new at these used ones, then maybe they're worth it and they'll be okay. In the end, what we decided was, okay, we're going to leave the winter tire. We're not going to buy the winter tires brand new here. We're going to buy, this is again, I'm not in line. I'm off to the side in a phone call while my son is waiting patiently and other people are buying new tires at this store. That's where all this is happening. And so I said to her, okay, we're not going to, let's not buy the winter tires brand new because we still we have to deal with the rim issue. Let's buy now the new ones, the brand new all season tires for the van. We need those. And then I'll head out right now and go ahead out and check this person that's selling the set of 4 and see with the rims and see if they're good, see if they're any good. And if they are good, we'll buy them and be done with it. If they're not good, well, we can reevaluate at that point and say, are they worth getting it? Maybe I now go back to the store and buy the winter. It's taking a long time, as you see, but this is how you get a good deal. If you're going to go fast, every time I get fast and every time I get desperate, that's when I get stupid. I know that happens. So I'm taking my time having these conversations, and got to the point where the wife said, yeah, okay, I like that idea. We agreed on a plan. We did it. I bought the brand new all-season tires. Total cost was $462 after tax. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. That's a great deal for four all-season tires for the van. Took off from there. grabbed some food because it's now after lunch. Grabbed some food for me and the boy, and we went out to this person's house to take a look at the used tires. We get there, and sure enough, and I had the tool with me. This is the thing. I knew I was going there, so I brought the tool with me. I knew I had considered going to, so I had the little tool, the thing from Amazon. I had stuck it in my pocket. And so I get out there and I'm checking a look at the tires, testing them. And sure enough, they're very reasonable. Very reasonable. Got a couple of years left in these things. But the other thing the wife had said, and my wife is so funny. She's a creature of always looking for signs, always wanting to see, okay, this is the sign. We should totally do this. Well, I said to her, these are $200. And what she said to me was, okay, offer $150. And I'm like, what? $150? $200 is already an awesome deal. And she said, no, but if we get $150, then we know we're meant to have them. I said, okay, okay, I will offer $150. The worst you can say is no. We'll see what happens. The worst the person can say is no. So on the way there, I'm texting her, okay, can we, what's your address? Where are you? Blah, blah, blah. We'll be there around this time. And then I throw in, okay, would you take $150 for them? If I took them today, would you take $150 for them? And a little bit late, a couple minutes later, she messaged me back. I'd split the difference at $175. I said, I didn't expect that. Okay. Thank you, wife, number one. But let's try again. How about $160? I said. I'm totally willing to do $175. It's an amazing deal. But I said, okay, how about $160? But again, the worst she can say is no. She says no, I'll take them for $175. Sure. She said yes. She said yes. So we get out there, we take a look at the tires. Happy, they're great. Start loading them in the car. After I load them in, I go to start giving her the money. I say, okay, so here's your cash. Gotta stop to get cash on the way there. As I'm getting cash to go to give her, she stops me and says, oh, don't worry about it. $150 is good. And so it's done for $150. So we pack up. We say thank you very much. We're done for the day buying tires. And that was the end story. So I got 4 winter tires with rims, plus a brand new set of all season tires for the van. All in, taxes, everything, $612. Unbelievable. And I know that's unbelievable because of the research I did. Okay. In fact, a friend of mine said to me that he has spent twice that for one set of brand new tires in the past. So this is the thing. If you're willing to put in the time and effort, and if you're willing to make debt a non-option, lots of things are possible. Okay. So I really want to inspire you with this today is that, there's more to finances than just finding a deal. This did not happen because I found a deal. This happened because I was willing to go slow. I was willing to get advice. I was willing to save the cash, not pay debt. And I was willing to look for a good deal. All those things were required for this to happen. So I really hope that's useful to you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you liked that little story. I know it's a longer video than I usually do. I hope you found that useful. Have a good one. Shoot me an email and let me know if you have any stories like this. I would love to hear it. Rob at wepayoffdebt.ca. Have a good one. We'll talk to you again soon.